This video is about what I do to train before I go bicycle touring. Hi, my name is Billy. On this bicycle, I've crossed Australia, I've crossed Europe. In the United States, I've gone from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast, down Baja, through Mexico, Central America, all the way to Panama. I then continued through Colombia, down to Ecuador. In a few weeks, I'm headed back to Ecuador, and I thought I'd make a video about some of the things I do to train before I go on a long bicycle trip. I don't ride throughout the year. I finished up 6 months ago and I haven't ridden in 6 months. So a couple weeks prior to going out, I like to train. And there's 3 things that I do to train for all these trips so far, and it's worked well for me, and I thought it may work well for others. One is I use the trainer inside. That gets me back into shape after I hadn't been riding for 6 to 8 months. So what I do is I warm up, and I really believe in cadence. I don't worry so much about my miles per hour. When I first started learning how to ride, I wanted to ride down to Key West from Savannah, Georgia. So I bought a bicycle, and I was reading about what the pros do, and the pros use high cadence. Well, when I tried to do cadence, I couldn't get over 70, and these guys are doing 100 plus, all that stuff. But I kept trying, I kept going, and today I like to ride at 90. But this exercise that I use with the trainer, it takes about 50 minutes. I try to do it 4 to 5 times a week. I was just going to go through real quick and show you what I do. So the first 5 minutes you want to warm up, whatever cadence you choose. To me, I think it is in your head. If you think you can only do 70, you can definitely do 90. You just got to keep pushing at it. But the first 5 minutes we're going to warm up. So you may want to warm up less, but I start at 90. 90 is what I like to go with. So I'm going to go ahead and get up to 90. We're going to do this for 5 minutes. All right? And it's going to take time, relax. I like to listen to music. When I'm doing the slower pace, I like to listen to slower music. When I'm doing the high energy, I need something that's upbeat. First 5 minutes, we'll ride like this at 90. As soon as 5 minutes is up, we go up to 110. Or whatever number you want to push yourself to. If you're riding at 80, you may want to do 95 as your push number. So we'll ride at a high number for 5 minutes. This is where music really helps out. So you're not looking at the clock every second. So if you can find a song that lasts 5 minutes, it's very helpful. All right, we'll do this for 5 minutes. Then we'll drop back down to my 90. It may be 70 for you, it may be 80. Drop it back down. Don't go below. We're on this for 5 minutes. We're doing 3 sets. 5 minutes at your 90. As soon as that 5 minutes up, we're back up to 110. As soon as that's done, we drop it back down to 90. We got 1 more to go. It's always the hardest for me. 5 minutes at your 90, and back up to 110. Push yourself, try not to look at that clock. As soon as your third set's over, I go back to 90. You can cool off if you want. Maybe do 5 or 10 reps less. After that 5 minutes, I go to climb. So 5 minutes of resting, then I'm up to climb. I'll do 10 minutes of climbing. I'll keep my cadence above 50. If it drops below 50, which it shouldn't if you're in the right gear, but if it drops below 50, go to an easier gear. Above 60, I'll go to a harder gear. But if you'll stay in the exact same gear, 10 minutes of standing. And what this does is it gives me confidence when I'm climbing. If I can do this, I know I can climb for 10 minutes standing. Anything that Mother Nature throws at me. So we're going to climb for 10 minutes, going above 50 reps per minute. Once we're done, we'll relax. Then I go back to 90, 5 minutes. That's my cool-off period. So that's what I do to train before I go out and ride the roads. I do that 4 to 5 times a week. And again, just on your cadence, you don't need to go by my cadence. I have no idea if it's good or not, but it's what I've learned, and it's what I can do all day long. 90, 90, 90. I don't worry so much about my miles per hour. I don't worry at all about them, but it helps me to know if I'm slacking off, that I should be easily doing 90. And that just helps you. And then you have that 10-minute climb that's always there for you. You know you can climb for 10 minutes without stopping, and there's not many mountains that you're going to tour on that 10 minutes won't get you over that thing. So once I train inside, then I like to go on the weekends if I have time and do about 25-mile ride outside. I like to do a scenic ride, but I do 25 miles. I figure out how much time that's going to take me. 2 hours, 2.5 hours. That's about half a day of riding when I tour. 25 miles, 2 of those gets me 50 miles. On my trips, I average about 70 miles over the entire 5,000 mile trip. Some days I do 100, 120. Some days I'm doing 0. I'm being lazy. But doing that 25 mile a couple times during the weekend, that lets you know about how long it's going to take you to get half of your day's ride in when you're touring. So I'll know that in 2.5 hours, I should be able to knock out 25 miles. That'll really help me predict how far I can go as far as the next town, the next campground, the next resupply point. So that's why I like doing that and getting in those half-day rides. To me, they're half-day rides. It's half the distance that I would do if I was bicycle touring, and that lets me help with the time. It also helps me with how much water or fluid I'm consuming. The third thing I like to do is I go on 2 days out. So I'll take a trip, I'll pack all the gear, and I'll go out for 1 day. I usually do 60 to 70 miles the first day. Make sure you leave early. There's always going to be an issue, and it's good if you have an issue. I think it prepares yourself to kind of know what touring's like and how you're going to solve problems. But the first day, I do 60 to 70. I stay somewhere. The next day, I do 60 to 70. So that gets me over the 100-mile mark. Then I may take a day or two off, and then I'll come back home and do again 60 to 70, 60 to 70. And that gets me around a good day cycling for me. So, but those are the 3 things I do. I do the trainer. I try to ride a half-day ride. I do that multiple times. That way I can figure out how long it's going to take me to ride about half a day. And that'll help me with all the logistics as I go touring into places that I don't know I'm going to go, but I know about how much of a half day is. So that'll really help you with your calculations and logistics. I wear 2 shorts for the first 2 weeks. It doesn't matter how much I train. The seat is unbelievably uncomfortable for me for the first 2 weeks of the trip. So I always wear 2 shorts for the first 2 weeks. Also, it takes me a while to get my seat post right after the bike has been boxed up and all that stuff. You're going to have to sit, when you tour, you're pretty much going to have to sit on the seat for probably 6 to 8 hours or more. So that to me is one of the hardest things to adjust to. And it's really hard to train to sit for 8 hours for multiple days under different kinds of temperatures, weather conditions, all that stuff. So be prepared. It takes me about 2 weeks for my body to get used to this seat sitting for that long. As far as the multi-day trip, it's a great way to test your gear, to figure out, you need to know how to change a tire, that kind of stuff. So the multi-day trip can really help you with that. It also, maybe you figure out you don't need gear, maybe you figure out you need some more gear. That's great with a multi-day trip. But those are the three main things I like to do before I go bicycle touring, and that seems to get me ready to go anywhere. So, hope this helps you guys. Let me know if I can do anything else.